7. The whole Israelite community left the desert of Sin, moving from one place to another at the command of the Lord. They camped at Rephidim, but there was no water there to drink. They complained to Moses and said, "Give us water to drink." Moses answered, "Why are you complaining? Why are you putting the Lord to the test?" But the people were very thirsty and continued to complain to Moses. They said, "Why did you bring us out of Egypt? To kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst?" Moses prayed earnestly to the Lord and said, "What can I do with these people? They are almost ready to stone me." The Lord said to Moses, "Take some of the leaders of Israel with you and go on ahead of the people. Take along the stick with which you struck the Nile. I will stand before you on a rock at Mount Sinai. Strike the rock, and water will come out for the people to drink." Moses did so in the presence of the leaders of Israel. The place was named Massah and Meribah because the Israelites complained and put the Lord to the test when they asked, "Is the Lord with us or not?"
Have you ever noticed how the energy in the room changes when the children leave? Or when the weather's like this? If it were a nice, bright, sunny day, we wouldn't all be here. But when it's like the kids late, the energy's different, isn't it? Let me just help you with that a little. I'm just going to help improve the energy in the room. Edmonton police investigate acts of terrorism after officers stabbed and pedestrians run down. 2 women stabbed to death at Marseille train station, attacker shot dead. Ooh, Lynx kittens turn Alaska photographer's deck into a romper room. Okay. It's like they never existed. Toronto Monument will honor mistreated British home children. Wheels up, Air France passengers depart Goose Bay on 2 flights after hours on the tarmac. Been there. Let's see, Drayton Valley mayoral candidate focuses on shutting down homeless camp. Chinese and indigenous roots, what does it mean to be Canadian? Ooh, Trump says Tillerson is wasting his time trying to negotiate with Kim Jong-un. Okay, never mind. Terrified 60-year-old woman told to pay up for illegally downloading porn. Farmers markets lies exposed. CBC's marketplace consumer cheat sheet. Blah, blah, blah. O.J. Simpson released on parole after 9 years in prison. Blah, blah. Oh, Monty Hall died. You're going straight to hell. Lin-Manuel Miranda among those slamming Trump for Puerto Rico tweets. Far-right anti-fascist protesters temporarily shut down Quebec border crossing. It wasn't my fault, artist says after eyeball tattoo left Ottawa woman with partial vision loss. Trump says Puerto Rico mayors want everything done for them. Did giants roam Canada's Northwest Territories, or do they still? Okay. I think we'll stop that. Isn't it interesting what we laughed at, though? Here's the thing. You know, the other day we had a rehearsal the other day. We're doing Hunchback, right? Hunchback of Notre Dame is the Basha Community Theater show this year, and it has humorous moments, but it's not funny. Really, it's quite a serious. It's kind of like when we did Aida a few years ago, and it is because you know when you see a show like Spamalot or Shrek, which was the last 2, you laugh at everything, right? It's just fun. It's funny. You laugh at everything. People laugh at the weirdest things in Hunchback because when it's kind of not funny at all, people will laugh. And so like you hear a headline which is not funny at all, and we're going to laugh. And so are we laughing because we actually think it's funny, or are we laughing because we're so uncomfortable that we don't know what else to do? Because I find that's a thing. And that's not just people who are in one of the shows. I notice that sometimes when we do shows, might be a very serious moment, and then somebody in the audience will laugh. And at first, your gut reaction is, why would you laugh at that? But it's because we don't know what else to do. Because sometimes there's so much crap, we don't know what to do. What else are you going to do? That's kind of sad when you think about it. Well, for a moment there, I didn't think I could suck even more energy out of the room, but I just did, didn't I? We hear this story. Thanks, Fern, that was awesomely read. We hear this story, and we've been hearing this continuous story in Exodus of the Israelites in the wilderness. And here they are. After 9 plagues, and the worst plague of all, they were freed from Egypt by Pharaoh. The price of their freedom, eventually, was the lives of all the firstborn Egyptian children. That wasn't enough. So they're out in the wilderness, and they get to the sea, and with their backs to the sea, the Egyptian army shows up to take them back. So the sea parts, they pass through, and then the sea closes in on the Egyptian army with the Israelites free and clear on the other side. That wasn't enough. Then they're hungry, and food is provided for them. That isn't enough? Really? This, by the way, is the second water story. They've already been thirsty once. We just skipped over that story. But we came to this story because it's much more empowering, actually. They're thirsty, still not enough. Really? If you're God in this moment, aren't you going to respond to this with, really? After all of that, not enough, seriously. Now I got to do the water thing too? Don't you want to respond that way? You can say yes, because we're human beings. You want to say no, you wouldn't. You'd be calm and patient. Would you? We're human beings. We have a new puppy. This morning, Lori was probably a little bit late. My guess was because this morning he decided to do his business all over the floor, everywhere, randomly, whenever he felt like it. And after 4 or 5 times of that, right? That's a little insignificant thing. Imagine if your life consisted of the things that the Israelites were going through. Are they complaining? Really? It's their life so far has consisted of, and they wouldn't even know what freedom is. They wouldn't. They've been slaves for generations in Egypt. They have no idea what freedom is. Suddenly they got it, and they don't know what to do. And you know because of course you remember last week's sermon and the week before, when I believe I repeatedly pointed out that the whole point of the story of 40 years in the wilderness was for them to learn all of that. To learn what freedom is, to learn how to live with each other. That's the point of the 10 Commandments. It's the point of all of those stories, is how we live together. A bunch of slaves became a people. That's the story. You'd think we would have learned something from this story that's from thousands of years ago. But not so much, it turns out. And that may well be because not only do we complain a lot, but we're human beings, and so we respond to complaining a certain way. Don't we? If somebody complains at you often enough, your response isn't always going to be patiently saying, yes, I can help you. Right? Because we're human beings. And here is God responding patiently in a very interesting way. The water didn't just kind of appear from a stream. It appeared in a very interesting way. So, right away, a learning from this story may well be, who are you in the story? It's okay to say, I'd like to be God. Because we know what you mean. Because we would. First of all, we'd like to not be the people who are constantly complaining, because we'd like to not have to go through all of that. But as I just read you, we have good cause to maybe feel that way. That was just the headlines off of the CBC News page. Just the headlines. It wasn't even the rest of the stuff. Our life seems to be full of stuff like, do you know, every Sunday we have a prayer. We have a community prayer. And when I write that out, this much of the community prayer is the thank you God, life is awesome, thanks for creation, we're all wonderful. And this much of the prayer is the other stuff. Creation is awesome, look at it. Now is a great time of year to be looking at creation and how awesome it is. It's harvest. Next week's Thanksgiving. Yay! Lots to be thankful for. Yeah, sure we do. There's also a load of other stuff. And it's easy to say, there's God at work in the wondrous beauty of creation. There's God at work in the kindness of people to others. Where's God when stuff blows up? Where's God when people are yelling at each other and hating each other? Where's God when people are treating each other badly? That story about the I didn't actually even know that story about the English children. You should read that story, because it's about how they all came to Canada, and it turns out that was so that they could be cheap labor. Really? Children, where's God? Yesterday was Orange Shirt Day. And if you don't know what that is, you should, and you should look it up. Where's God? When a hurricane blasts through the Caribbean there and destroys most of Puerto Rico, and the president of the country says, quit your complaining. Excuse me? Where's God in that? Where is God when I can't get that damn dog to go outside and do its business outside? Because that's funny. Please do laugh. It is funny. But the thing is, the significance, the scope of those moments when we go, where is God, is huge. Sometimes it's about catastrophic occurrences that are changing taking people's lives. And at other moments, it's that guy who cut in front of me on the highway when I'm in a hurry. Isn't it? Those are moments when we just kind of go, oh, come on, right? Where is God? So God's response to the Israelites isn't a plane load of bottles of water landing. It's a rock. Moses takes the staff, he cracks a rock, and water pours out of the rock. Water, life-giving. We need water, life-giving. This is that standard metaphor that we always use of God is like water. The Holy Spirit is water for our souls and renews us, isn't it? Is it? Who's the rock? You are. I am. The Israelites are. Here's the thing. You know, we so often want to say, we so often want to see God strike that person. I'm not pointing at anyone in particular. Sorry, Damien. I'm not pointing at anyone. Strike that person down. We even make jokes about, I shouldn't have said that, bolt of lightning. We still have this idea that somehow God's going to work through nature or in some way to intervene. And that happens in the most insignificant moments, and in those moments when we say, why did that person lose their life? Why did that catastrophe happen? They're both huge moments and smaller ones too. And still, we somehow think that God's this giant outside force that's looking down on us going, oh, okay, that one. Or, I'll do this over here. God's not out there. Seriously, God's not out there. God's in you. That's the water. You're the rock. You are the water. God is the water. You are the rock. I'm going to get it right sooner or later. That's the beauty of this moment. That's the true release of freedom. We spend a lifetime. That's why the dynamic of the room changes when kids leave, because we spend a lifetime hardening. We're not like that to start, but we spend a lifetime hardening. The Israelites had centuries of it, generations of being slaves, hardening themselves to life. Sure, they probably complained, oh, where's God? The Egyptians are going to get us now. But you have to wonder, don't you? You have to wonder, when they got to the other side of the sea, did the Israelites see, and it refers to this in the story, when the Israelites saw the bodies of the Egyptian soldiers washing up on the shore, were they sad? Or did they cheer? You don't want it to be that. But hey, they've had generations of being slaves. Here's a little revenge time. And if you don't think that's a thing, go to a movie theater. Read a book, because they're full of stories about revenge. After centuries of being treated a certain way, they needed to learn something different. They were hardened and needed to find a new way. God is in all of us. God is, whatever language you want to use, God is the thing that connects us all. God is the energy, God is the love. And it's in all of us. What we often tend to do in our lives is spend a lot of time hardening ourselves to either sharing that or finding it in others. Just for dramatic effect at this moment, I was going to bring out a large staff and whack you all over the head with it. I don't expect I'd get past the front row, would I? No, okay. But you get the metaphor. So what's the stick? What's the stick? What? If we are the rock and God is the water, the love, the energy, the life that is in us to pour out, to share with others, to share, to drink from others. What's going to be the staff that's going to break us to release it? Pardon me? Did you say cats? I don't even know how to respond to that one. Yes, everyone get a cat, apparently. Yeah, it's not a bad one, actually. How often do you, when you have a pet, like a cat or a dog, that you know relies on you to a certain degree, that changes your perception of things, doesn't it? I don't want to make this sound like it's insignificant or anything. This conversation we're having, but you know, all you got to do is pick up that little dog we got now and hold him. And whether he just tries to, he actually came at me like this, with this, and his mouth's like this big, or he sleeps. Just hold him. It'll change your perception of things. I can't speak for cats because they're evil, but little dogs. So what is it? What is it? What is it? What's the stick? Ironically, it's love, isn't it? It's love. The thing is, in the story, God didn't say to Moses, take your staff and whack people over the head with it. It wasn't, God's response to the Israelites wasn't, are you kidding? Look at all I've done, and you're still complaining? No, it was love. That's what cracked the rock open. That's what breaks us. Love does that. Particularly the love that we can and are capable of showing when we are confronted with something that makes us want to respond differently. When we are confronted with hate and violence and just all of those things where we want to respond angrily, with complaint that makes us want to respond angrily, take a moment. Because anger is not going to change that situation positively. Love is going to change it. And that's not just for the whoever you are responding to, but for you. Love is what breaks the rock. Love is what lets us out. This is how incredibly the presence of children changes the dynamic of the room. They can actually make the sermon end. Love.